Or no?
Nah.
All right.
We're here for it, baby. We are live.
So I don't have to
We're
do anything then. We're just ready to go.
rolling, baby. We're doing it. We're in it.
Hello.
And welcome back to the Off the Cuff Show. I'm Mike. This is Dave. And tonight
Hi.
we're back. We got some catching up to do. We got to kind of like talk about life a little bit, of course. And then we are going to get into the story that I most want to talk about, which is going to be this little kid who was either I don't know how insensitive this kid could be to wear blackface to an NFL football game, but we are going to call him out for it, and
Yeah.
we're going to take
He's
him to
in a lot of
task
trouble now.
along with Deadspin. And so we're going to chat through that. There's been some updates since the story broke, and it gets even better. It gets even better. It's pretty amazing.
Does
So we're
it?
going to talk about that.
Okay.
Dave's got a few more articles we'll talk about, and that's pretty much kind of like where we're at right now with the show. Is we hop on here and toss out some headlines of things going on here around the world and on all the news outlet online edition, and
That's right.
that's us. I don't have the last time I recorded a podcast at my house because I don't have good internet at my office. I used my AirPods and it sucked. The audio quality was absolute hot garbage.
Yeah, it's
And
horrible.
today I'm using these new mics I got for other projects. DJI. I don't wireless mics. There's probably a model number or a fancy name. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it goes on your shirt like this, which I'll probably put because I'm going to get sick of holding it like this. But it sounds better when it's like right up like this. But
Yeah, it does.
but does it sound horrible this way when it's here?
I
Is it that
mean,
big of a difference?
Mike, had I not heard it the good way, then I would have just said, yeah, it's fine. But since I've already heard
I
it
mean,
the
I
good
can just keep
way,
holding it like this. It's fine. We'll see what it turns out to be like.
yeah.
I just feel like
All right.
I'm a reporter
I
in the
get you.
field. Back to you, Dave.
I got nothing
to do with that. Oh, Christina says it's good. Is it good like this though? Like just if I put it on here,
It's not
it's
that
made
good,
to like
Christina.
either clip on. It's got a magnet though, so
You know what you do? Clip it onto a part of your beard, right in your chin.
literally I can put it like that, magnetized in
Oh,
my
good
shirt. I
Lord.
could just like do it like that. So
Bring Elijah
this would
back.
be
This is
nice
not
because
working.
then I'm hands free, baby. Hands free.
Oh God.
What are you
Put your
focused on
hands
over there,
away.
Dave?
I'm actually looking at a couple articles here.
You're very head down. Are you?
I'm not trying to be head down. This is
Maybe you
my
don't want to
normal
be.
way, though. No, that's. I forgot what it's like. It's been so long. So.
Man, and now the audio is way off for you. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard.
Oh, good Lord.
It's so bad. So
Holy
bad.
shit, it's showing at 36 decibels.
Yeah, that I don't know about. I turned you up a little
How
bit
about now?
on the stream.
Am I better now?
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, just so dumb.
Let's do a little bit of catching up because it's been a couple of weeks. I think we missed 2 weeks, so it's been probably 3 weeks since we podcasted. We told everybody,
Probably,
"All right,
yeah.
see you next week," and then we were like, "Oh yeah, if only we can't do that."
Yeah.
So
Unreal.
whatever.
That is so funny. So dumb.
Yeah. So the last time we talked, we were telling people we were going to go to a concert that weekend together, and we did.
Mhm.
So we ended up going
Yeah, we
to
did.
Ford Field. We had these all access passes to the Five Finger Death Punch and Metallica show. Yeah. What was your takeaway? What did you love and what did you hate about our weekend experience? It started
I'll tell you what.
Saturday grappling with Zoltan
Yeah.
came into town. We spent some time
Yeah.
with him kind of covering some things and getting some roles in or whatever. But yeah, just give us Dave's take on that weekend and experience.
Okay, yeah. Wow, it feels like it's been forever, but I'll do my best it's like a flashback now at this point. It's been so long, but two of the things that I didn't like. I didn't like parking in the city of Detroit. That is one thing I hate doing with a passion. I hate going down into the city of Detroit. Sorry, all you Detroiters who pretend like you fucking love Detroit. I'm sorry, it's just not the truth. And yeah, Detroit's strong. And but also Yako, we didn't get to roll with him. He wasn't in. So he's such a first of all, he's such a nice guy. So this is Holden's security, like it's
Like head of
almost like
security
he's
kinda.
his helper. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
says he's head of security. He's just such a nice guy. Matter of fact, when he was at the concert, and we ran into him because he was in that pit. I was like, "Hey, this is my wife Joyce." He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And he like just gave her like this handful of like merchandise, like little things. You know what I mean? Like he's just a nice guy, you know, like picks and
Gave
just, you know what I
Joyce,
mean. So
his
he's
number.
just such a nice guy.
When you get sick of Dave, I'll be here.
Either way, it was really nice. So, you know, I haven't seen her since. So, you know, he solved a couple problems for me. So, yeah. But other than that, like it was it was just a great time. I always enjoy when Zoltan comes into town. He's such a nice guy. I've already talked way too much about him in the past. And he's such a decent human being, and he's just always has great stories. And I was able to roll with you and Angela, and I don't get to roll with you guys that often. I really like, and I know Angela and I train at the same gym, but he doesn't roll that often anymore. I know because he has some serious, like he's got knee issues and stuff, and so it's fun to be able to do that, and I don't get to see you very often roll with you, so that was it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. My wife just had a ball. She saw James Hetfield as we were walking down the corridor there, you know, on the right
we
side.
walked like right by him in the backstage area.
And I was telling Joyce, I was like, Joyce, no matter what you do, don't talk to anybody. Like, don't, you know, because that would be her thing to be like, oh my God, sorry, I didn't mean to, just want to let you know how great you are. And because she gets starstruck pretty easy. And so I was like, don't talk. Thank God I said it beforehand, because she went down there and she's like, and then I was walking down there. I was like, I wonder if he'll notice. I mean, if he just looks in my way, maybe I can say hi or something. I'm like, Joyce, damn it, you know, this is how starstruck she gets. I swear to God. We were in Gaylord. Remember, I used to have property in Johannesburg. And Gaylord is 15 minutes away. We used to stop in there off 75 and go into the Walmart there when we get in, because you got to get supplies, you got to get groceries and things of that nature.
Right.
Let me tell you, it was late. We got in late one night, and it was winter time, and we got in, and it probably was like 11 o'clock at night, and we had to get some supplies because, you know, I worked weird hours and overtime, you know, and so we were walking in. There was really this tall black dude, and I was like, oh my God, that's JJ from Good Times. It looked a lot like this guy, and Joyce was like, oh my God, really? She like freaked out, and I was like, no. I go, why the fuck would JJ?
Dynamite!
Yeah, I was like, why would JJ be in Gaylord in the wintertime at 11 o'clock at night in a fucking Walmart? Why would he do that? She just
same reason everybody is getting the those pizza rolls, baby.
Dude, it was just ridiculous. So, but she had a really, really good time. And let's be honest, Five Finger Death Punch, Zoltan always takes care of us. He, as a matter of fact, he told us, we're like, hey, is this the last we're going to see you? Because he was leaving his dressing room. He's like, no, I'm going to come down in the pit and see you guys. And what's the first thing he did? Playing guitar. He came down to see us and play, you know, and it was just he's a hilarious dude. He's so funny. So anyway, it was a great time. What about you? Good and bad?
Well, the good was as far as like hanging out on Saturday with him, it was pretty fun to hear some of the stories that I just hadn't heard. I mean, Zoltan will
for sure
talk and talk, you know, like he's just a
he's
super
got
down to
so
earth
many
dude.
good stories.
And some of the stories he shared just about the band and his life in New York when he like was coming up in the music industry and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just really funny stories. I really enjoyed that. And then it was cool to get to hang out with everybody on the concert day. I mean, I had a good time. And the bad was my knees ached for like 10 days because we stood like I parked. I got there first. I was standing outside the stadium at like 4:45. So that was after a 10-minute walk, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I had been standing from basically 4:30 until 11, like after a little
That's
after
a
11.
long time. People can laugh at us if they want to, Mike, but that's no joke.
And it wasn't standing on grass. I mean, it was just a concrete slab of, Ford Field. Like it was on the floor. There's nothing. There's no AstroTurf there. There's just concrete, And
it's not
and
cushion.
of course I wear nothing but my Chuck T's, so like they're not exactly designed.
No.
I don't know how kids in the 50s did it in gym class with Chuck T's, but they did.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
It's the way I live. I suffer because of it. But anyway, my knees just ached. So that was the downside. Then I told you guys afterwards, now listen, these guys in Metallica, they could be the nicest guys in the universe, maybe if you get to know them or something like that. But it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like you got the guys in Five Finger Death Punch hanging out in their dressing room. We're standing there, we're talking to Zoltan, whatever. We're talking to Davey. We're talking to people like, and it just feels pretty normal. I didn't feel like, I feel like I'm just being myself.
Yeah.
They're being themselves.
Yeah.
There's nothing aloof about it, nothing weird about it. And then it's like you start walking out, and the manager for Five Finger Death Punch is like making sure we know, hey, listen, don't talk to James Hetfield. Like he does, like it's like he doesn't like that, whatever. And maybe he's got his routines, his rituals, his thing to put on a good show. And it's just like, okay.
Did you feel like it was a little prima donna type stuff? Like, I mean,
I felt like the Metallica side of the things was a little prima donna. And honestly, like, what's funny is really, I mean, anytime Zoltan's going to come into town, if I can be there, I'm going to be there. But Metallica was like a draw for us because that was like a bucket list band for us that we hadn't seen. And honestly, like it didn't bother us to leave before they were done. I didn't really feel connected to their performance. I say that as somebody who regularly listens to Metallica music.
You love Metallica. Yeah.
I'm not even knocking them. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I just think Five Finger Death Punch puts on a better show. I feel like they're just a more fan-friendly thing. So, those are my negatives, I guess. But overall, it was fantastic. I mean, we had all access passes that freaking Ford Field to go see two amazing bands, and so there's nothing really negative about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's, and I think I'm gonna have to agree with Silamander here because, man, I just, I've seen, I told you I'd seen him twice before, and but back then, we knew all the songs. I kind of stopped listening after their Black album, and I loved it, but I even that had to grow on me because it was very different from their prior stuff that I loved. And but in the end, I think that was the last time I ever saw Metallica. I forgot the time before that. I forgot which one it was. It doesn't really matter. But then like every song that they played back then, I knew. But this time it was like they played three really good old ones right in a row. Then all of a sudden they played like three or four. I'm like, I don't even heard of these songs because I stopped. Yeah. Like again, it's like when you see somebody like a 70-year-old dude who like is stuck who dressed is in the 60s. You know what I mean? Like because at some point he stops being like, he stops kind of going with generational, clothes fashion and is just kind of stuck in the 60s. That's kind of how I am with Metallica. So it's just one of those things. But their show has always been like their shows are incredible. And I gotta tell you, those times that I had seen them before, I swore up and down they are the best live band I had ever seen. And I can still stick to that, but that was a past thing. And then I listened to Five Finger Death Punch, and last time, a couple of years ago, I wasn't a really big fan. I didn't know them. I didn't listen to metal, a more later metal like that. And then you're like, hey, you want to go see these guys? I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess. I've never heard anything from them, and I still hadn't really heard anything. I think I put it in, like, I could say I put the cassette in before on my way to the concert. But I put the 8-track in, and I was like, oh yeah, these are actually guys sound pretty good. They're and then all of a sudden you see them live, and when they were headlining, and I was like, holy crap, these guys are
when they headline, man.
great.
I mean, it's like,
yeah. It was incredible, and it wasn't just because of the experience of being able to at Pine Knot be able to go back and roll with them in the back, and like he had us everywhere. It was because their music was incredible, and their crowd is incredible. They have a very faithful following of fans, and they play to their fans. And Metallica, again, who I love, it's like they don't play to their fans anymore. They play to for their fame, and it just feels a little bit different. So it just
Bosco says like maybe it's a personal connection. I mean, I maybe, but I've been a Five Finger Death Punch fan long before I knew anybody in the band. Like I was a fan before I was a friend. So I have a
you were for sure. You and Angela.
I have a pretty objective like take on what it's like to see a show of theirs without that sort of like connection. So it's pretty objective. And all I needed to know like was, so we were in the pit, like in this middle, so it was around a circular stage. It was very large, and we were in the middle and we had these passes on us that says Five Finger Death Punch family or whatever. So it was like, that's the band that got you the all access pass. Well, Metallica, first of all, Metallica limited the other bands giving away any passes for the show.
Yeah,
like basically restricted them to a very small amount of passes, which normally
and even then
do whatever they wanted.
The passes that the other bands were able to give out didn't apply to Metallica.
Correct. So we were in the middle, and Metallica also made a rule and said, unless you have our pass, then you can't be here during the show. They didn't honor the other bands bringing their close friends and family and all that stuff to the show. And so it's just like, I don't know. It was that. But I was glad that I got to hear some classic Metallica songs,
because they still sound amazing.
And the crowd loved them. It was cool. Like I can say that I did it, but I would say this, that if no matter who Metallica comes to town with, if they ever do again, I don't think that we would get tickets, to be honest with you. I don't think that we'd be like, all right, we've seen them and it's fine. But there's certain bands, Five Finger Death Punch would be one. Blue October is another band. Like there's a few that, for Sherry and I, like every time they would come to town, we're going. Like that's like that'll be the default plan unless we can't for some reason. Like that would be what we would plan on doing. So
like it was Gordon Lightfoot, Jim Croce.
Absolutely.
They're both were dead. Still waiting for those ones tickets to go on sale, but whatever.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy. Anytime he comes in.
But only him singing. It's not even his comedy.
No, not the comedy. No. Just when he performs his classic album.
My girl likes to party all the time, so yeah.
My girl likes to party all the time.
Yeah, Drew says wham.
Jitterbug.
That is amazing. I'm more apt to see comedians So, I've told you I've kind of like done my trifecta of comedians, and I'll tell you what, I'm so like I'd always wanted to see what Bill Burr, uh, Louis C.K. and Chappelle. And
Mhm.
I was able to see all three, and those are like how I go. Like I don't go to I don't go to like concerts like that, concertos, if you will. But I do like to go see those guys, and that I've done it. I enjoy. I just don't normally go out to see concerts very often. It's a lot of work as you get older.
Yeah, standing, man, that just kills me. Like, we were looking at Blue October's coming to Detroit in April, I think, and we already were like, I said, like, "Wait, I have to sit down. I can't do this anymore." Even the last
Yeah,
time we took Josiah and Anna to Blue October show, I think it was in Royal Oak when we went, and again, man, I just standing up for that many hours in a row now is just not in my not
yeah.
my preferred way to spend my time. Uh, and
Yeah, Drew says Theo Von. Yeah, he seems like he would be funny. I saw Rogan was with Chappelle, and he was not good at all. I mean, he's always been our
I'm not a
enemy anyway,
I
but
am not a huge fan of Rogan's stand-up. I've watched
I
a couple different specials. There's some things he makes me laugh about or whatever, but I just yeah,
yeah, he looked really uncomfortable. It was
I
right
don't
after
connect
COVID,
much
and
with his comedy, but
yeah, Segura. Segura was he was freaking hilarious. He just popped in with the whole Chappelle in Vegas. I have no idea why, but he was really freaking hilarious. That new guy, Rife, is it
Matt
Matt
Rife.
Rife? He we started watching his comedy show yesterday, and we hadn't even been drinking, and we were laughing. So he's got something. It's just, he brings kind of a different level of humor. It's a very young, hip kind of feller, if you will. So his comedy is actually I'm not gonna say it's more geared towards a younger crowd, but he's such a young dude, and
Yeah.
he's like really got a lot of energy and all that. But he was super like what we watched of it was super fun. This is how old we are. I'm like, wow, this guy has really got chops, and they were like, okay, now it's time for bed. Like, like that's how I watch comedy shows apparently nowadays. So
Oh boy. So yeah, that was our fun-filled weekend. We went through the holidays, and now we're here. We're here to talk to you about. I saw Dane Cook. Drew said he's the modern Dane Cook. I saw Dane Cook at the Palace. No, what
did
couldn't have been.
you? He
No, it
gets a
wouldn't have
lot
been
of
Palace.
hate, man, but I always thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the show. When I went,
Yeah, there
yeah.
was something. What
No,
happened
he's
with him? There was something.
accused of stealing jokes and things like that, or something. I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah, because
whatever. I mean,
he
like,
was
I
like
enjoyed it.
he like kind of sunk for a long time, and then kind of started slowly make his way back to several years
Was
later.
that where I went and saw him? Where was that? Yeah,
Man,
I would. I'm not a fan of. I mean, the Palace is not a thing anymore. But what a stupid idea the Palace was. Stupid. All right, the Detroit Pistons. Okay, yeah. If you drive 60 minutes north, you'll get to the Detroit Pistons. You idiots. All right. Anyway.
Mike, that's not really funny. I just want you to know I live a lot closer there to that area now than so.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right, I'm
So
ready. I'm ready.
let's get into this. All right. We had the story broke yesterday, I think. It might have been Monday.
Yeah, I think it
can't
was a
remember.
couple days ago. Yeah.
But Deadspin, which is a media outlet mostly focused on sports, maybe, but a senior writer there, Carron Phillips, I think is his name, accused child fan Holden Armenta of wearing blackface at a Chiefs Raiders game in Las Vegas on Sunday. You just can't make this stuff up. So let me share this so that you guys can
Can
see.
I have to interject a couple just what I'm confused about in this is because obviously you're going to show this article, and for people that are just listening, this kid is wearing isn't he wearing a headdress too? Indian
Yes.
headdress, and then his face is painted red on one side and black on the other. What I find very interesting is that, first of all, that's a great picture of the kid right there. But how is it that he got so much play with photography, like with the photographs. Like he like, you know what I'm saying? Like it must have been.
Well,
You get what I'm saying? I mean, how many tens of thousands of people are there? Why did he get that kind of play?
because he was on this railing kind of not far away from the players, and he actually had some of the players doing like the tomahawk chop, like
okay.
whatever. So probably like the same thing, like you go to a Tiger game and like kids have signs and it's a cute kid doing cool stuff. The players are getting into it, it draws attention, I think.
I see. Okay.
So the Deadspin writer, it's hard to see in this photo that we have pulled up, but if you can look on the screen, you'll see the headdress, and then you'll see they're only showing one side of the kid's face, which is
side
painted,
profile,
which is painted black.
Yeah.
So Deadspin author writes an article that was titled "The NFL Needs to Speak Out Against the Kansas City Chiefs Fan in Blackface Native Headdress." So he immediately got called out because this is the real photo of the kid who has nothing more than the team colors, which is not an unusual thing to do at sports games. He's got one side of his face black, one side of his face red. That's the Chiefs color scheme, and he puts it on his face because that's the team he's rooting for or whatever.
All I'm seeing is double racism. Like that's what I see in this picture. I see him trying to have blackface and then also trying to be a pretend Indian. And let me tell you, I am offended by both of those as a white dude. If I was if I was a middle-aged white woman, I would be even more offended. You know that, right?
Absolutely. And rightfully so.
And rightfully so, exactly.
In an article published Monday, I said the headline, Phillips included a photo that showed only the black painted side. The other images and videos show the other half painted red to display both of the team's colors. Armenta, the kid, also wore the traditional headdress resembling the team logo from the 60s and 70s. Without any mention of the red paint or any other context, Phillips accused the team and the National Football League of allowing fans to display racism and hate. So Phillips wrote, the answer to all of those questions lead back to the NFL. While it isn't the league's responsibility to stop racism and hate from being taught in the home, they are a league that has relentlessly participated in prejudice. If the NFL had outlawed the chop at Chiefs game and been more aggressive in changing the team's name, then we wouldn't be here. There's no place for a franchise to be called Chiefs in a league that's already eradicated, quote, Redskins, he added.
Oh, God.
So everybody starts giving backlash over saying this kid's doing blackface. This is the furthest thing from what this kid is doing, right? So everybody's calling him out on how he ripped this out of context. Now he's deleted the tweet, right? It's
I was going to say, because you almost can't find it, right? Like, it's gone.
Initially, he doubled down. He initially doubled down and says, all you people complaining about this, you're what's wrong.
Of course.
You're
of
the
course.
reason, right?
Throw it right back at people, right? Of course.
Elon Musk chirped up and said he's an unapologetic racist and a deceiver. So he has that going for him. But here's the update. What's crazy is that it turns out that Armenta, the kid, is from a Native American family. His grandfather is a business committee member at the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians. He is an elder in the tribe. The elder Armenta visited his grandparents and other relatives who lived on the Native American reservation throughout his childhood, right? He comes from a Native American family. In 2012, the obituary of his great-grandfather identified him as an elder of the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians. The boy's mother angrily responded to Deadspin's article for airing the misleading photograph published by the blog. She posted several photos of her Chiefs superfan son appearing to have fun time at the game and shared a video of him doing the iconic tomahawk, which was being done by black Chiefs players on the sidelines, right? So Deadspin has yet to issue any correction to the article or respond to the backlash as of Wednesday morning. So no nothing has been said or done. Nothing has been retracted. Nothing. And
You
so it
can't retract
turns out
something that doesn't exist anymore.
that all of his anger was literally directed at a non-race. He wasn't doing blackface, and it turns out he is from an actual Native American descent. Not just like 2%, but his great grandfather was an elder in a tribe.
That's amazing. And
so you can't make that up.
You know, they did this with the Redskins, and it was clear that the majority of Native American Indians were not offended by this at all, and even spoke out like against kind of like it was, to them, it was a sense of pride, like, you know, and they never took it as a bad thing.
There was no uprising. There was no outcry.
No.
There wasn't a contingent that like created this movement. It is this white knighting thing, because our culture celebrates victimhood. Then if you can't be the victim, you have to speak up for the victims, and that in and of itself is now a virtue signal. And now you're worthy of praise, and more people need to be like you, or whatever. It's nuts. I heard this weekend somebody saying being woke is having your eyes open constantly to find something to be offended at. That you're woke when you're doing nothing but gazing around, seeking every possible opportunity to find something to be offended by.
Well,
and I was like, that's a pretty good practical definition.
Yeah, let me tell you. So, you know, you didn't see me get upset and up in arms when the professional Foursquare team, the Connecticut Crackers, came out, you know. So I don't know why everybody's so upset about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I supported it.
You did. I remember it. You actually changed
I didn't even get mad. I tried out and I didn't make it.
That's true. You actually you changed the status of your Facebook. You changed your picture to a opaque Connecticut Crackers emblem.
Yes.
That was really nice of you. It's a saltine cracker, but but nonetheless, you know. So yeah, yeah. It's just. I mean, time and time again, this is, and again, the worst part is there's still just never any apologies for, hey, look, I was a jackass. I don't know, Mike, we could go over this every single fucking time we podcast. It's, hey, let me be angry at something, find out it's not true, and I don't have to apologize to it. That is exactly what America media is all about. I can't really speak for other countries, but there's no retraction, and if there is, it's on page 14, right? I mean, I don't even know if anybody even would know what that means anymore, you know, or back page stuff.
I can't remember his name. I'm sure somebody in the comments will. You remember that kid that was in Washington, D.C., and he had the MAGA hat on or whatever, and the guy, the Indian dude in his face or whatever was going on. I mean, that kid made millions for defamation.
I hope this little kid makes a lot of money.
I hope this kid can pay for his great grandkids' college later on, if that's what he wants to do with it. I hope that's how much money he makes. I hope it shuts Deadspin down. I hope they can't afford to stay in business anymore. I hope it shuts the whole operation down, because no one needs crap like that.
No, we want good media. We want good resources. And let's be honest, that kid would probably actually give back to the tribe anyway. It'd make it even worse for this fucking Deadspin bullshit.
What if he bought the Chiefs and he changed the name to Redskin Chiefs? He just brought it back.
Because he's just a little kid. He just named it just dumb, weird shit. He's like, let's show the Redskin Chiefs. The
Redskin Chiefs. And then their helmets are shaped like teepees.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They call it like the scalping Redskin Chiefs or something like that.
There's the halftime of wampum smoking.
Oh my god! You are something else, man. That's too bad, man. It's just so ridiculous.
Oh
Oh
man,
God,
yeah,
there's
they have
never a
like
shortage of dumb shit.
they give out bows and arrows to the kids that come in for Thursday night games. You know, they get bows and arrows and get to hunt live game during quarter two.
Oh God, so dumb. Well,
Oh man,
I have some really good news, I think, for colleges in general across the nation. I
yes.
have very good news for my alma mater, Harvard. You know, that's where I went in spirit. And that Harvard University plans to offer a course on Taylor Swift. Now, let me tell you, that's actually what this is.
I've already pre-enrolled, so
Well, no, I know you did. I know that's why you had brought this to my attention. This is why I'm so excited about it. I'll tell you what, if we'll say Allie was going to Harvard, she would not. She never would have no interest in Harvard. And it's funny because these places are supposed to be so fine, high and mighty, and all this stuff. And you're teaching a fucking course on Taylor Swift. You fucking morons. But if my daughter came to me and said, "Dad, I can't wait to enroll for this new Taylor Swift course," I would take out my white glove. I put them on my hands, take one off very gingerly by the finger, and then slap her in the face with it. And because what adult would ever go, "You know what, hon? That's a great idea. I think you should take that. I can't wait for you to get shitty credits at Harvard for this." God, okay, so are you ready to hear this? This isn't from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
This is what we're doing now, huh?
Yep. Fans of Taylor Swift who attend Harvard University. This isn't Harvard State, Mississippi University. It's not an underlying university. No, this is actually Harvard University. Maybe filling a in quotes a blank space in their course schedule with a new course about the pop star's career, taught by Professor Stephanie Burt. Let's remember this name. This is the name of a fucking loser. This is the name of a lady who actually she's probably brilliant, because if she can have this fly, she should run for president. A self-identified fan of Swift's work, Harvard's English department will offer Taylor Swift and her world. That's what they call it, I guess, whatever. For the first time this spring. The planned course will include diving into, I love how they're starting to, now they're actually going to use words that are like supposed to be meaningful. Diving in to Swift's lyrics, music, and influences. Burt is also planning to include readings from authors that are relevant to understanding Swift's art. Quote, "I love that I'm able to do this in a way that both gives people the chance to study and write about things they already love, and maybe build some bridges to think that they would not have otherwise encountered that they might also love," Burt said. Swift is a that's how she sounds. That was actual audio. Swift
Actual
is
audio.
a pop. Just so you guys know, this is WCVB.com online edition. Swift is a pop country music star who debuted in 2000. I like how they have to tell us now who the fuck she is. Since then, she has explored genres, written scores of relatable songs, and gone on wildly successful tours. When she first began her musical journey, she had a fairy princess. Like this is Bert's way of cashing in on somebody else's fame. That's what I love about this. She had a fairy princess-like charm to her. As she matured, so did her music. Her songs now explore emotions, however dark, and tell stories that may relate to, including personal tales about her relationships. I thought they were all about her relationships failing. She's known to
doesn't have a great track record.
No.
Good luck, Travis Kelce.
I know, which is so funny that they keep showing this as a like somehow, this is the NFL pushing this, right? Because again, they're going to capitalize off of Taylor Swift's popularity and try to get a market that has never been interested in the NFL, which is young girls. And that's only going to last as long as these two stay together. So as far as I know, the NFL is probably giving an additional bonus to this dude just to keep dating this train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
She's known to, quote, shake it off when faced with criticism and to take positions that can shake the music industry. She took her music off Spotify to protest against its minuscule payments per song for nearly 3 years, starting in 2014 and in 2015. She took on Apple Music when it decided not to pay artists during the user's 3-month trial period. Apple immediately took heed and changed its policy. They would also pay the artist royalty during the trial period. But her biggest battle, Mike, but this is great. This is the first real fucking problem against the music industry started in 2019 when her former label, Big Machine Label Group, was sold to Scooter Braun. The sale also gave Braun the rights to the master's recordings of her. I hope they're not going through the whole the litany of stuff we're supposed to be learning in this class, because if I won't need to take the class after this article.
That sounds like it's already gone way deeper than the syllabus.
Yeah.
Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun.
Scooter Braun.
Scooter.
The
Scooter Braun has bought the rights to
gave,
this. I'm Scooter, and I have the rights.
The sale also gave Braun the rights to the master recordings of her first 6 albums. She decided to release her own versions of the albums. Her 2022, she just doesn't play, does she, Mike? Her 2022 album, Midnight, sold over 1.14 million physical copies, including a record-setting 575,000 on vinyl alone. That actually is quite impressive. I mean, vinyl nowadays, that's pretty good. In 2022, the University of Texas. Oh, yeah, I guess it kind of is. Still 575,000. That's about almost as many fans as we have. The University of Texas at Austin announced it would offer a similar literary course reviewing Swift's work, and Texas State University offered a course on Harry Styles in spring of 2023. Now we have to look for that one, because let's see if that one's still going on, because it looks like it actually was offered as a thing. So yeah, that's my article for that. So tell me, Mike, what do you think about this? I mean, I already know what you think about it, but this is the dumbing down of our, like, and I know that they cherry pick.
A prestigious.
This is Harvard, dude. It's Harvard.
Classic education. I mean, yeah. And this is what we're doing. We're that counts towards something.
Yeah. Isn't that
a class on Taylor Swift? Like this.
This is our brightest and best. That's it. This is our brightest and best, and this is what you are offering.
Being
the future
and start waking up. That's what I wish. I wish. This is just nuts to me. This is exactly why all 4 of my kids were counseled growing up that you should only go to college if what it is that you are super passionate about and feel like this is what you want to do, absolutely no way around it, requires it, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to be a doctor? Well, you gotta get your degree, because that's the only way to do it, right? So there's that. So other than that, but even if they had went to college, if they told me I'm taking a Taylor Swift class,
right?
Like, I can't imagine having paid for any of their college in the first place. But if I did, I would have withdrawn the pay. I would have canceled the checks. Like,
yeah,
no, we're not doing this. This has nothing to do with an actual education on real topics. Now, if you're in a business class and there is a particular, because Taylor Swift is actually probably she runs her own business. She doesn't have somebody she's not just a singer who's like just going where people tell her to go. Yeah. I'll give her credit in terms of like, she's a smart business woman.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm sure she doesn't do it alone, but that even that says she's a good businesswoman, right?
Yeah. So if you're in a business class and they're referencing a strategy or an approach of modern artists or pop people, how are they approaching business?
Yeah, how are they marketing?
What impact does that have on that? I could see a reference to that in a business class or something like that. But building something around just one person like that, especially like a pop icon kind of a thing, is weird to me. But it would be equally weird if somebody was like, I'm taking a college class on Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Like,
Yeah.
I even then I'd be like, I mean, what is their like personally? Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
Yeah. Well,
what are we doing?
let's push that even further back, because this would still be weird to me. Just a class on Abraham Lincoln. Just that's it. Just Abraham Lincoln. Now, granted, he would have more to do with historical accounts and
Sure.
history, not so much English. But this Taylor Swift thing, this is an English course. So, like,
What?
that's what she said,
Oh,
right?
I thought it was a business course.
No, I think she's an English major or a teacher.
Then it makes even less sense now.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like,
it's weird,
kind of a
man.
stretch, even in a business sense for me, because
Yeah.
you're only focusing on one person.
No,
You know,
but I'm
and
saying, like, just
not a business approach, but
anytime you're just going to focus on one person for an entire semester, I just feel like that's even like you're just being disingenuous to whatever the overall cause is, right? I mean, if you just did a course on Hitler, say, yeah, you're going to get a lot of interesting stuff out there. You'd be able to dive into his mind a little bit, but shouldn't we be talking about like his government, or maybe just the entire World War II or the lead up to it, like the politics
yeah.
that led up to World War
Now
II
there'd be
to
people who
1939 and
are like Lincoln historians. They may write books on Lincoln and things like that, and so you would need to take a deeper dive. And you could teach a course on Abraham Lincoln's X, like, but it's you have to be teaching something on a practical level,
yeah,
for a purpose that fits the degree. And
yes,
I just don't see where that fits in at Harvard, especially if it's in English.
I don't see how it pulls in a community college. And I'm not knocking community colleges. I went to Oakland Community College as well as Grand Valley State. I love that. Now, just so you know, Drew, yeah, I may have failed James Taylor's course back in the 80s, but I'm not the least bit upset about it. I mean, I have seen fire and I've seen rain. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it all. And so you can't, yeah, I mean, it was one flunk. I took a course on Garfunkel after that, and I did just fine. So thank you.
My course that I would do is how to managing your, this is for a psychology degree, managing your emotions with the writing of Simon Garfunkel.
Try that with Bob Dylan. Holy crap, man. You better have to take drugs just to understand that course.
I think Bob Dylan was more with it than most of us these days.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe, but man, some of his lyrics are pretty far out there. Pretty good stuff.
I'm a Rolling Stone. Hey. Bob Dylan.
You're always spot on, Mike. Always spot on. Your Dylan's always been.
How does it feel?
I'm sorry that I made him do this, guys. I apologize for that. Dude, I wanted to can we change direction here for a little bit? And
you're in the driver's seat. I only had one article.
Even better. So I saw on the news, it was actually kind of a blip, and this was 2 weeks ago or so. And we weren't able to discuss because we hadn't podcasted again for a couple weeks or so, and until now. And I do want to bring this up. And a couple weeks ago, and I can just kind of read, like, this was from 11alive.com. Judge says trial challenging Georgia's voting machine. So did you read anything about those, how they kind of like the whole voting machines thing in Georgia, the constitutional challenge to Georgia voting machines set for trial early next year? The question whether Georgia's electronic voting system is major. So this was a couple of weeks ago. And then it looks like there's a follow-up one a week later, but then it just kind of stops dead, apparently probably because of the fact that it's going to be picked up someplace else. But the question of whether Georgia's electronic voting system has major cybersecurity flaws that amount to a violation of voters' constitutional rights to cast their votes and have those votes accurately counted is set to be decided at trial next year. U.S. District Judge Amy Totenberg issued a 135-page ruling, 135 pages, late Friday. This was a couple weeks ago again, guys. A long-running lawsuit filed by activists who want the state to ditch its electronic voting machines in favor of hand-marked paper ballots. The state had asked the judge to rule in its favor based on the arguments and facts in the case without going to trial, but Totenberg found there are material facts in dispute that must be decided at trial. She set a January 9th bench trial, which means there will be no jury. Thank you for that, AP News online edition, which means there will be no jury. But she also suggested that the two sides work together to reach a resolution. Quote, the court cannot wave a magic wand in this case to address the varied challenges to our democracy and election system in recent years, including those presented in the case, she wrote. But reasonable, timely discussion and compromise in this case, coupled with prompt, informed legislative action, might certainly make a difference that benefits the parties and the public. The lawsuit was filed by several individual voters and the Coalition for Good Governance, which advocates for election security and integrity, against Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and members of the state election board. It claims that the current configuration, Raffensperger. It claims that the current configuration of the state's election system presents a threat to voters' right to have their votes counted as cast. It spawned an expert report that identified vulnerabilities in the election system used in Georgia that led a federal cybersecurity agency to issue an advisory to jurisdictions that use the equipment, and has prompted some Georgia Republicans to call for abandoning the machines. It also led to the exposure of I really don't have to read much more of that. That was 2 weeks ago. Let me just kind of zip in on this one. A week ago, this American Military News. Judge rules Georgia voting machine must go to trial. So I don't know, maybe they're just they're actually just referring to this 11 Alive News one. So I don't have to go on with that. What do you think about that? Like, you know, we have all these other countries that are like boasting, they're bragging, they're laughing at the United States, saying, look, we know, like, what is it? Was it Argentina? That crazy, like, hilarious conservative dude? Like,
Yeah.
they had him, he had won the election in like hours. They knew like hours. And that's when they were kind of like laughing at the US, like, dude, we know our results almost, like, it's ridiculous. What is your guys' problem? You guys can't even count, and you guys do everything by computer program and all this other stuff, and you guys can't even count votes for 3 days. And it is ridiculous. It is embarrassing. Like, I remember when Iraq was able to vote. So after they ousted Saddam Hussein, maybe I'm dating myself here because this was the 90s, but let me tell you, how they voted was when they did their paper ballot vote, they dunked their thumb in a freaking purple ink. Do you remember that? So that nobody could just keep going back, and like it happens. I was telling you before, I've said this before, that we were at a voting place to vote, and this lady, an actual employee, was like, I know that guy. He was a young dude wearing that Chavez t-shirt. It was like, that guy was here at the other poll, whatever. And she's like, he had no driver's license, nothing. They just let him vote. And I'm thinking, how is that even a possibility? You know? And so there's got to be 100 better ways to do this than the United States does. This is an embarrassment for the United States of America, and we need to fucking fix this, because despite whether people think that Trump lost because of in like nefarious reasons or not, I would have to say that a lot of people have lost faith in the vote in voting in the system in the United States. And that's no good. That should be the last thing that we ever worry about as a nation, is how we vote people in. Whether you like the person or hate the person, we should at least be able to go, wow, that was fair. That was fair. I don't agree with it, but that was fair. But we are not at that point anymore. And I don't know, maybe the media has a lot to do with that, but we do know there's got to be damn better ways to do this. You know, what do you think?
Yeah. There absolutely has to be better ways to do this. we're, we're in theory the most advanced nation on the planet, and yeah, we can't vote. Now, part of it, I can say makes sense to me, and that is because each state, because we are the United States,
Right.
has gone further or regressed or whatever at different rates in how they vote, right? Like we think back to the hanging chads of Florida, right?
Oh my God,
Not
yeah.
a lot of states didn't have chads, let
Wow.
alone hanging chads
So true.
To vote with. So that's part of the problem. And so part of me understands kind of why that could have developed the way that it did. But you're there at this point, you're right. There is no excuse. There's certainly absolutely no excuse for not requiring an identification to vote and only getting one vote. There's just no excuse for that.
Yeah, agreed.
And so this is it's super simple, right? To require ID, to verify the ID, and to let the person vote, and that's it. Done. That's it. It's super simple. It's super common sense. It should be done. No problem. No questions asked. Boom. And then we just need a simple way to be able to vote, and those votes be able to immediately be counted, right? Like
when I put it into a machine, it should automatically count it. How is that not like you should be able to push a green button? I don't know why it has to be green, but push a green button and it goes, oh, here's your results for the night so far. How is that impossible? Here and then an enter button or a send button, it sends it right to Washington, D.C. Just fucking
it's not for that matter. We should just be like, everybody tune in on your phones at such and such a time and hit who you want to vote for. And it's like, boop, all right, that's our president. Like you could do it. I mean, the technology exists. It's just like obviously verifying people.
We can't
part
even
of
do
me,
that right,
part of me absolutely does not want I get it. People are on vacation or whatever else, that kind of a thing. And my thing would be if we could have, but I don't want a federal voting system. Like I want it to be local. I want it to be verified locally. So I don't want people to be able to. I don't want to be on vacation in Florida and be able to go to a location and vote in Florida.
Yeah, I agree.
During that time. But the system that we have for mail-in voting, there's too much potential for fraud there at this point. Like that's one easy path of attack for those who would want to nefariously shift the vote. That's a problem. And then as far as military votes go, now that they should be able to vote in person at their military site. That's they do these mail away things for military votes.
Yep. They did
stupid.
for us too. It is ridiculous.
No, you do the same. You do the voting system at your base, wherever you are stationed. You vote, and that's verified. And the less mailing, the better to me.
Why can't you just have a system set up with the Social Security number? Where even if you have to register it,
that's racist. First of all, that you would need a Social Security number.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like it's ridiculous that we don't have a way. Like I should be able to log into a computer and have a log on for my Social Security number. One, and if I were to put the wrong Social Security number in there, it should be like, what are you doing? Like, no, this person is deceased. This or that this one does not exist yet. And then you just get your one vote. You go back into the computer, you try to go in, be like, no, you already voted.
Yep.
How is that not an option? Something to that extent. So whatever.
Technologically, you should be able to have a computer pulled up, and then you'd be like, here's my ID, and they pull up if you're in the system or not, if you're registered or not. That's it.
Yeah.
And
I can play Mortal Kombat with a boy in Vietnam. Mike.
Play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam.
And yet we can't vote correctly. We can't. We have no way. God, so dumb. I know we're about to get off on this one, if you know what I mean. But I did want to read one more article. Can I do one more article?
Yes.
This is a really crazy article. And I know it's going to lead to a little bit of discussion, but we'll try to keep this as short as possible. NewYorkPost.com, online edition. 82-year-old allegedly killed by caretakers hours after cops ignored cries for help. Now, I already love the title of that.
Oh, is this the one where they commented how they were proud of the guy for being a gun owner or something like that?
Just 4 hours after a bedridden 82-year-old woman in New Mexico frantically told cops she feared for her life, she was shot and killed by her caretaker, according to police and a report. The caretaker, Henry Cardona, called
I believe
officers.
It was Henri
Cardona called officers to the Rio Rancho home, urging them to take his elderly charge out of the house. KOAT Action 7 reported. She's a hospital hospice patient and she's uncontrollable. I can't control her anymore. She needs, for her own safety, to get the hell out of here.
She needs to be
he said down. In audio obtained by KOAT 7. The patient, Junan Fennell, then told the 911 operators there were guns in the home and that she felt unsafe. Officers arrived and chatted with Cardana, I don't know, whatever, about guns, confirming the caretaker had loaded weapons. Quote, I like folks that have guns, one officer told them, according to the clip. Then they stood by while the worker had a disturbing exchange with the older woman, a video obtained by KOAT shows. I don't know what that would mean. It actually, like, there's some pictures here. Cardana has said something inaudible on the video to Junan Farrell, who replied, "What did you say?" He said, I said, "You're fine until I kill you," Cardana answered. Quote, "All right." He's threatened to do that, Fennell told the officers. Instead of taking action, the cops left after Cardana told them, quote, "Get out of here now, go away." The recently released footage from April 5th encounter revealed. Hours later, Cardana began screaming that he had killed Fennell, according to a neighbor's 911 call. Police found him covered in blood when they returned to the home, and the prosecutors charged him with murder. But Cardana blamed police for Fennell's death. The body cam footage shows, quote, "You're not listening. You didn't help me at all. He is seen wailing. It's all your fault. You guys caused this." You guys caused this. And it's funny because that's where it ends. So, like, now I know I wanted to read a more inflammatory article for that because, you know, there's the truth and then there's like what actually happened. And isn't that just a fantastic, like, how many times have you been out to it? You're like, oh my God, this lady's like out of her mind and this dude's out of his mind. Like, God, they're all fucked up, you know, and you're like, just want to get out of there. It's probably late. You want to go home. And then 4 hours later, these guys are probably going to lose their job. What do you think?
Man, it's hard. It's a hard one because obviously you can't predict the future. And I think that you would have to be there to get a vibe, you know, to read the room. Like it's almost impossible to understand this from an article because it really would be so much in sort of like the tone. There's so much to understand about, like, how was this lady coming off when she was communicating? How was the guy coming off when he was communicating? What is the vibe when you read the room, when you kind of read the situation? What was your feeling? What was your sense about that based on, you know, common sense and a mix of experience on the job? Or, you know, you kind of gotta, it's just too hard, I think, to know right or wrong, a line in the sand on this one from even just stated facts. Well, she said he was trying to kill me. Yeah. I mean,
I know we've all heard that, right? Okay, any cop has heard that before. Now, keep in mind, so it is the caretaker. We don't know what their relationship actually is. Is he just receiving money, or is she somehow a family member or an old friend? Like, a friend's friend who I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, he's the one who shoots her. Now they show pictures of her, and she's 82 years old. She's in the bed. It almost looks like she's bedridden, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it looks like she has an oxygen mask on, dude. Like, she looks pretty rough. Besides the fact, maybe because she's a woman, right? And they're really annoying sometimes. Do you think maybe that had anything to do with it? Maybe like he
It's a
wanted a
fair.
sandwich
It's
or
a real
something.
thing. It's a real thing. So.
Oh my God. I can't. It's such a great. First of all, it's a stupid article because we know that there's so much more that happened.
It's an
And like you
article that
said, we
takes
have
you.
to be
It's
there.
an article that takes you nowhere.
It
doesn't
it
actually.
does, but it's not true. That's not true. It takes you everywhere all at once, and it makes your mind just go, "What happened?" And you're just like, well, "I bet this is what happened." I bet, you know what I mean? And like, imagine somebody who's not a police officer reads this article, and the first thing they're going to be is angry that these cops did. They're the ones who caused this. That's what the old guy's saying, and clearly he knows what
They
he's
should have
talking about.
predicted the future, and
Yeah.
they should have been the Minority Report and stopped
That's
future
right.
crime. You
Yep.
know,
So,
it's
God,
like,
just
and
so
there are
crazy.
things like from experience, maybe there is something that would stand out that you're like, yeah, maybe we could do this about the situation, but you can't, like, even if she says he said he was going to kill me, sir, did you say you were going to kill her? No, she's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
bullshit.
okay.
She's
Well,
got
we're at the end of
Alzheimer's.
we're at the end of the investigation now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, now, did she record him saying, "I'm going to kill you," or did he write it in his journal? "Dear diary, tomorrow I'm going to kill her." Like, now, if we saw that and we still did, the cops see a diary that said, "Dear diary, I'm sick of being a caretaker. This bitch is going to die tomorrow." If they opened that up, they read it, and then they chucked it and said, "Have a good night. We're glad that you own guns," then maybe we've got a problem on our hands. But
his manifesto.
Yeah. I mean, did this lady talk about, like, there's way too many things that could have been said or could have been perceived in that moment to even remotely come to a judgment about this that's close to fair.
Well, just real quick then, I have a follow-up to this by ourrobserver.com. This is they're from the Rio Rancho Observer. So
Ooh.
we're getting really close to the source here, Mike.
Yeah.
By
And this is
Michaela
investigative
Helene.
journalism.
Details revealed in April 5th homicide. Henry Cardano, 86. So he's older than the lady that he killed. Was arrested on April 5th for the willful and deliberate murder of residence coroner, blah, blah, blah. Fennell was found with a gunshot wound to the head Wednesday afternoon, but that was not the first call from emergency services that day. Sandoval County Police responded to a call from Cardana at 7:13 a.m. April 5th. Cardano reportedly told the dispatcher that he was extremely frustrated, that he wanted to get someone out of the house. More specifically, he told police that Fennell was getting out of control and he wanted her out of the house because he couldn't adequately take care of her. I believe that. He then got hostile on the phone and handed off to the elderly woman. This is going to get more bizarre, I bet you. She told police she did not feel safe with Cardana and thought she was in danger from him. She added that there are multiple guns inside the house, which doesn't mean anything to a police officer. That's just stupid when people say that.
Nothing.
That Cardana threatened her with. She didn't, however, reveal where they were located. Fennell also told police that Cardana had been drinking and provided false information to the dispatcher. She believed he was listening in on the conversation from a different phone in the house. The dispatcher noted that they could, in fact, hear Cardana on the phone while speaking to Fennell. Dispatch was also received a call from a New Mexico Adult Protective Services representative who claimed they performed welfare checks at the residence and provided police with a correct address. So they couldn't even get a real address on this. Officers were sent to the residence to check on Fennell and Cardana. That morning, according to the report, hospice came to the house at least 3 times a week for Fennell, and Adult Protective Services was contacted by Cardana to have her removed from his care. Fennell refused to leave the property because she had personal possessions and property there. She also had dogs living with her. EMS also arrived to take her to a hospital. You just imagine what this place looked like and smelled like.
I
EMS also arrived. It's in New Mexico.
know exactly what it smells like.
No air conditioning. Yeah, you know. Just 3 fans just pointed right at your nose. EMS also arrived to take her to a hospital.
The floors are not clear.
Oh,
it is,
no.
There's a path.
Oh, yeah. To take her to a hospital.
The carpet is green.
Green shag. EMS also arrived to take her to a hospital, but claimed there were no medical reasons to move her, and therefore there was nothing they could do to help. Later in the day, at approximately 12:30 p.m., dispatch was contacted again and could hear a man and woman screaming at each other. One of them said that someone had been killed. That's weird, right? Because it says contacted again and could hear a man and a woman screaming at each other. One of them said that someone had been killed. The line then disconnected. Dispatch called back, and someone on the line requested emergency response with lights and sirens. The quote, lights and sirens. They said that they had seen a dead woman on the bed near the entrance. They said that Cardana was bleeding as well. The phone was passed to the caller's wife, who stayed on the line. So maybe it was a neighbor. Until on the line until the officers arrived. When officers arrived, they saw that the front door was open and a few of Fennell's friends were in the driveway. Cardana was in the front entry where police detained him. Cardana had blood on him as well as a bloody nose. While clearing the house, officers found Fennell on the bed with a gunshot wound to the head. A silver revolver with a black grip was found under her leg. Cardana was heard saying,
"I say the caretaker did it in the bedroom with a silver revolver."
with a black grip. She wanted me to do it. That's what she wanted. Detectives spoke with, she's probably like, then shoot me then, motherfucker, shoot me. He's like, okay. Pop. Detectives spoke with Fennell's friends, who said they were bringing food to Fennell and Cardana. When they called Cardana ahead of time, he sounded distressed. When they arrived, Cardana told them he did it and they should call someone. Quote, call the police. I killed her, he said. Cardana was sent to a hospital and detained for medical evaluation. He was charged with first-degree murder and faces life imprisonment without parole if convicted. I'm just very curious how this one's going to end. I'm not really that curious, and I'm pretty predictable how it's going to end, but how the fuck did that end? It got so, and how many times have we been to these runs, Mike? Exactly like this, the exact thing, never a problem ever, and then all of a sudden now we got officers going to be fighting for their lives right now.
Marine's Blood said this is like a script to a new Disney horror film. Confusing and makes no sense. Yeah, Halle Berry is going to actually play this lady in an upcoming Disney rendition.
It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry, I had to read that. I know we went.
Actually, it'll be Jada Pinkett Smith. That's who they're going to have play.
I just saw an article that they're going to stay together forever. So there's nothing you can do about that, Mike. You're never going to get it. You're never going to get your chance at Will.
They're on the top of my list of people I never want to meet.
Very top.
Somebody could be
very top.
Somebody could be They could pull up in a vehicle and say, and somebody could knock on the door and be like, "Hey, Jada and Will are here. We just got picked at random to come hang out with people. They're right here." And I'd be like, "I just closed the door." That's my interest level.
I would probably invite them in to berate them and then kick them out of my house. And then record the whole thing, become famous, and so if anybody else can use somebody else's fame to advance their career, I can do the same, Mike. That's what I'm going to do. Damn it! So
all's fair in love and podcasting.
That's right. Oh god.
Well, I guess our opinions don't change that often, do they?
No, I guess they don't. Oh, well. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Glad to be back.
What a crazy world. Crazy, I say.
Wild, wild stuff.
Wild, wild stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
There's some people that going like, what is that about?
People are like, what are they talking about? They seem to know what they're talking about, but I don't know what they're talking about.
But I do not know.
If you guys have not watched The Tonight Show ever, then you probably should.
Yeah.
Probably go back
not nowadays.
Well, not the current Tonight Show, whatever that is. If that, whatever. No, Johnny Carson. Tonight Show.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right, folks. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, and
stay warm.
keep you informed. If you have not subscribed, I mean, the podcast will hit Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's on YouTube. Subscribe there, subscribe everywhere. Keep up, tell a friend, write a review, do all the things, whatever. We're here until we're not.
That's it.
All right, peace.
Peace.